So we've been talking about graphing inequalities, and now graphing quadratic functions. And so today we're going to talk about how to graph a quadratic inequality, as well as doing some systems, including quadratics. So for inequalities, we need to remember that we draw a dotted line if we have strictly less than or strictly greater than, and then we use a solid line if it is less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. And then we also need to remember that we shade. So if we have a greater than symbol, we are going to shade above, and we are going to shade below if we have less than. And we can't think of inside the parabola or outside the parabola, because if the parabola is opening up or opening down, it changes. So here we have one in vertex form, which means I know what my vertex is. So my vertex is -4, -1, which means I also know my axis of symmetry. It's x equals -4. So I can get started graphing that now. There's my axis of symmetry through -4, and -4, -1 is my vertex. So to get another couple of points, I can use my table. I put my vertex in the middle, and then I use points that are on either side. So -4 to -5 or -3. And then I can substitute these x values to get a y value. So I'm going to use -3, and I'm going to start here. So y, don't even worry about that. So I have -3 plus 4 squared minus 1. -3 plus 4 is 1, squared is 1, minus 1 is 0. So I have -3, 0. And then because of that axis of symmetry, I know I also have -5, 0. Okay, so now let's talk about our line. This is strictly less than, so I use a dotted line. And it's strictly less than, so I shade below. All right, so I use a dotted line. And below, underneath, whatever words you want to describe the less than, these are all the values that are less than that line. Okay, we have another one here that is in vertex form. So my vertex is -4, -3, which means my axis of symmetry is x equals -4. So for my axis of symmetry, I'm going through -4 again. And for my vertex, it's -4, -3. And this opens up because it's positive, so I expect it to go that way. So get a couple more points. I'm putting my vertex in the middle. I'm going to use -3 and -5 again. So if I plug in -3, I've got -3 plus 4 squared minus 3. -3 plus 4 is 1 squared minus 3. That's 1 minus 3, so I get -2. All right, so -3, -2. I use my axis of symmetry to get another one, and I'm going to go with that. So this time, I have greater than or equal to, so that's a solid line, and greater than is above. So a solid line going this way, and above the line is up here. My My next two examples are in standard form, so I'm going to have to use my axis of symmetry little formula. So negative b is 4 over 2a, which is negative 2. So I have negative 4 divided by negative 4. My axis of symmetry is x equals 1. All right. Then I am going to substitute my 1 in here to get the vertex. So it's 1 something. So I have negative 2 times 1 squared plus 4 times 1 plus 1. So 1 squared is 1 times negative 2 is negative 2, plus 4 is 2, plus 1 is 3 is what I'm getting. So 1, 3 is going to be my vertex. And that makes sense because the negative out front means that my parabola should open downward. So my next step is going to be to make a table. So my vertex is 1, 3. So x values on either side are 0 and 2. 0 is nice and easy to substitute. So that's going to be 0 times negative 2 is 0. 0 times 4 is 0. Plus 1 is 1. So I have 0, 1. And then I'll use my axis of symmetry, plot 2, 1. And then I can keep going downward. So looking at this symbol here, it's less than or equal to. The or equal to tells me that's a solid line. The less than tells me I'm shading below. So let's compare. In example number 1, I had to shade below. And because this graph is concave up, I'm shading basically on the outside. For this one, shading below is actually going to end up here on this side. So this is why we don't say inside or outside, because it depends on which way the graph is opening. We have to say above or stick with above and below. All right, let's do another axis of symmetry for number 4. So negative b is negative 16 divided by 2 times a, which is negative 2. So that becomes a positive 16 divided by a negative 4. So my axis of symmetry is x equals 16 divided by negative 4 is negative 4. So I'm going to go right here to draw my axis of symmetry. And now I can find my vertex using that axis of symmetry. So if I plug negative 4 into this equation, I think I did that right. I have negative 4 times negative 4 is 16 times negative 2 is negative 32. And here I have negative 16 times negative 4, which is a positive 64, and then minus 34 here. So negative 32 plus 64 is 32, minus 34 gives me negative 2. So there's my vertex, negative 4, negative 2. The negative out front tells me it's opening downward, so it should look like this. So to get us a table, put my vertex in the center. So I'll use negative 3 and negative 5. Negative 3 is the smaller number, so I'm going to use that one. So I have negative 2 times negative 3 squared minus 16 times negative 3 minus 34. 3 squared is 9 times negative 2 is negative 18. Negative 3 times negative 16 is a positive 48. So then I have negative 18 plus 48 is 30. And 30 minus 34 is negative 4. So I should have negative 4 there. So negative 3 down to negative 4 is here. Using my axis of symmetry, I get my other point. And then looking at my symbol, greater than, it's not equal to, so I use a dotted line. And greater than is above. So here's my dotted line. And this time, so last time above was in the parabola, but this time above is going to be this part. Okay, so that is inequalities. Now